So this comes from Emma, mum of Oliver, and she is in Manchester in the UK. She says, my son has always been a sensitive little boy, but over the past year, he absolutely refuses to sleep in his own bed. He'll happily fall asleep if I stay with him, but if he wakes during the night, he comes straight into our room in tears. We've tried reward charts, night lights, and even tell him he's a big boy now, but nothing seems to work. Are we making things worse by letting him sleep with us? Why won't he sleep alone? Okay. So this all goes back to safety once again, and it's not about your son being stubborn or manipulative. It's usually when a child's nervous system feels unsafe when they're alone, even if they know that they're physically safe. So logically, you're saying to him, it's okay, you you're safe, mommy and daddy are here. Um, Even the pet might be there or whatever the case may be, but he's not hearing it because it's his nervous system that feels unsafe. So think about them as two separate things, right? So if I say to you logically, so if you think as an adult and you might say, "Oh, I don't like this." You might be somewhere. Say, for instance, you somewhere and you feel uncomfortable, and I'm with you, and I think it's a nice place, and you're going, "Oh, I don't think it's a nice place. I feel uncomfortable here. I don't like it." And I'm like, "Well, look around. It's nice. Look, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. Why don't you like it?" And you go, "Well, I just feel what I feel." So me telling you that the place is nice and the environment is nice and that it's beautiful is not going to make you change the way you feel because it's your nervous system that is saying, I don't like what I'm feeling right now. I feel unsafe. Not logically, it's the body that's going, I feel unsafe because the head hears it, but the body doesn't. So you letting him sleep with you, no, you're not making it worse at all because that's helping him in this moment. Telling him he's a big boy, that's not going to help at all because then in his mind he's going to go, I'm a big boy and I shouldn't feel this way. So what we want to do is you want to say to him, it's okay to feel what you feel. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay feeling what you feel because you want to validate his feelings. So you want to say, I can see you don't want to be alone. I know it must be scary to be alone. Or you can even say to him, what is it about that you don't feel like being alone? Or try and engage in a conversation, which is quite hard with a 6-year-old. But you want to kind of like point out the emotions that he's feeling and then check in with him to see if they're actually correct. So you can say to him, is it the dark that you're afraid of? Is that why you don't like being alone? And he might tell you, he might go, no, I just don't like being alone. And what you can then do is you can try a few things. So if it's, for instance, that he doesn't want to be alone, give him a big cuddle bunny, like a big teddy bear or something, and make up a fantasy story, right? So children live a lot in their imagination. And if you say to him, well, you know what, this bear is like your guardian angel, and he's with you, and he's going to help you feel safe. You just need to go to sleep with him every night. That might help. Even simple things like I remember when my grandson was too scared to sleep alone when he was a little boy, and his mom bought him one of these dream catchers, and she said to him, this is going to catch all your bad dreams at night. So when you sleep alone, and that worked, right? Because it's just that one little thing. It's almost like a little tool that you're giving them that's going to help them stay safe. Another thing that helps children feel safe is if you've got a pet or a dog, allow the dog to sleep on the bed with him or in the bedroom with him because then he doesn't feel alone. Because if that's what he's worried about. If it's because he doesn't like the dark, put a night light on. So, but do it little bits by bit because you said you've tried the chart. I mean, rewards charts do work with some children, but then they knuckle through it. It's almost like they white knuckle staying in bed because they want another star. They want a reward. So it's not always a great thing. So find out what is the underlying cause of why he doesn't want to sleep alone and try and solve that by giving him something. The other thing that you can do is to help his nervous system calm down. And I'm going to be sharing some tools over the next 4 weeks about how to help it. But just one, for instance, is hugging. And you can do self hugs. For instance, if he just rubs his arms like this when he's feeling like really uptight and stressed out, this is very calming to the nervous system. So you can just do it together and make it part of the nighttime ritual where you just sit together, you rub your arms like this, and then he can just even give himself a hug. Because when you do this, you're actually releasing oxytocin. So you're releasing the good feel hormone, the love hormone, and it's going to help the nervous system settle down. So just do that with him. The other thing is when you sleep with him or when you fall asleep with him and he wakes up, it's almost like, especially if he's scared to be sleeping alone, why that gives a child a fright is like you falling asleep in the bath and then waking up and going, what am I doing in the bath? I'm supposed to be in my bed, or falling asleep in bed and waking up in the bath. And you're like, where am I now? The nervous system instantly goes, oh my goodness. So if you've got to stay with him and sleep with, fall asleep with him, you can say to him, listen, I'm just going to lie until I fall asleep or until you fall asleep. And then I'm going to go back to my own room. So you can almost like prepare his nervous system. But really try this. Try a routine where there's no screens, where you sit with him, where you read him a story, you talk to him, let him tell you about his day, let him tell you about his worries, tell the good things about his day, the bad things about his day. And while you're doing that the whole time, just do this with your arms and get him to do it as well because it's going to give him that incredible sense of safety. Okay, I hope that helps. Help. Get in touch. Stay in touch. I'd love to know. Okay, the next one is my child cries every morning before school, and that's from Sarah, mum of Isla, 8 years old. Um, every weekday morning starts with tears. My daughter complains that she feels sick, begs me not to take her to school, and clings to me at the classroom door. Her teacher tells me she's absolutely fine within 15 minutes, but the next morning we go through it all over again. Is she just trying to avoid school or is something else going on? Okay, so this first of all sounds like a little bit of separation anxiety. And what I'd be interested to know is this a new school or a new teacher? Um, because sometimes it's just about the nervous system that needs some time to feel safe with a new person or in a new environment. Because remember, anxiety is all about fear of the future, meaning fear of, am I going to cope at school? So it will be, am I going to cope at school without mom? Am I going to cope at school with that teacher? Am I going to cope at school with that new student, although that student that's been nasty to me? So it's all about, am I going to cope? Am I going to be okay? Am I going to be safe? And sometimes it starts off with um, maybe somebody was mean to her, maybe somebody said something ugly to her, called her an ugly name, or said something to her. Maybe it's the new teacher doesn't feel great, it's not familiar. A lot of children don't like change, so I don't quite know all the details. So I'm just going to try and cover them all. So if it's a new school or a new teacher, it's a new environment, right? And children don't like new environments because the nervous system's on alert the whole time going, what is this? Who is this? Am I safe? What about these people? Are they going to be kind to me? Are they going to understand me? Are they going to like me? So children make up all these stories in their head if they don't feel safe, and it takes them a little while to settle in. And the fact that she does settle in after about 15 minutes mean it's just that apprehension before leaving home and then getting to school. It's like that, oh, I've got to go there again, and am I going to be okay? And then she settles down when her nervous system goes, okay, well, actually, we are okay here. We feel fine here. This environment is safe. I do know that person or I do know that teacher. So find out or ask yourself what has changed in her life. And if you don't know, ask her what has changed because when you know what has changed, you can then solve the puzzle. Now, if she feels like she's not sure if she's going to cope without you, you can give her tools for that. And tools can be simply things like if you're really struggling or you it could even be she's scared about you and something you doing or somewhere you going. But you can give her these tools in terms of where you say to her, if you're worried about me or if you're worried that I'm not no longer close by, here's my phone number. So if you're really, really struggling, you can ask your teacher to call me. And then tell the teacher about it because you want to work together with the teacher and say, listen, my child is really struggling with separation anxiety. And if she gets panicky or whatever, I've given her my number and I've asked her to ask you to phone me just to calm her down because it's just a transition phase. It's not going to be forever. And 9 times out of 10, teachers are really understanding and they're helpful, especially in the junior years. So give her the tools that she knows because just knowing she has that resource and knowing what she can do if she can't cope is going to set her mind at ease and it's going to set her nervous system at ease. Um, Also, teach her a few tools. For instance, you can teach her that when she's in the classroom and maybe she's feeling a little bit unsettled and insecure, tell her to, you know, stroke her arms, breathe in, look around at her environment, count to 5, breathe in for 5, breathe out for 5, while she's looking around at her environment. Because what she's doing for her nervous system when she's doing that is she's showing her nervous system that this environment is safe. She's calming her nervous system down by stroking her arms, and by the breathing and looking down, she's telling her nervous system to be present and to include the environment and that the environment is safe, that the people around her are safe, because you helping her to get her nervous system to calm down, because this is not a logical thing. It's not a thing that you can say to her, just calm down, you're safe, you'll be fine. It's her nervous system that is unsettled. So just teach her a few tools that she can use discreetly in the classroom. If she doesn't want to do that in the classroom, she can maybe just tap on her fingers or rub her fingers or rub her hands like this under the desk. That is the same calming motion. She can just do it under the desk, rub her hands, look around, breathe in for 5, breathe out for 5, or just do one or the other. She doesn't have to do both. And that's going to calm her nervous system down. Okay, but get to the bottom of what it is, whether something has changed in her environment so that you can address that directly. If it's a child that has been nasty to her, you can talk to the teacher about that. You can also then say to her, you know what, just because that child says that doesn't make it true. Maybe go and try and find another friend, but don't pay attention to that because I think children pay a lot of attention to what other people say and what other people do, and they make it about themselves, and they need to be reassured that somebody else's bad behavior is not their fault. So find out what it is, then address it, and if you're still stuck, come back and ask me again. Right, and then just give me a little bit more detail. So that's all I have time for in this video. As per usual, if you've got a burning question, and we're doing everything about anxiety this month, and you'll see that all those questions have related to children feeling anxious and feeling unsafe and worried. You'll find some links below. So if you want to submit your own question, you can submit your question below. There's some resources below. Also look out for the little tools, the little short videos that I've started releasing this week as well, that you can practice with your child. Teach your child and do it with them to calm their nervous system down. So look out for those, and then look out for the resources and the books that I recommend as well. And the links will follow below in each video. You take care, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye for now.